The PS5 consoles have finally been revealed, and we have all the official details ahead of the launch later this year. The PlayStation has always offered more to the off-world than just games. It has scored well with DVD playback, Blu-rays, and 4K streaming over the years. So what will the PlayStation 5 have to offer at launch? Will it be an 8K machine? Will it still support optical media? When is the PS5 release date? How much will the PS5 cost? We've been reporting all of the PS5 news as it's been released, and now have more concrete information than ever after the latest official PS5 event, which gave us our first look at the new consoles. Perhaps surprisingly, given that the event focused on games, the PS5 console itself has now been revealed. In fact, make that consoles, because there are actually two versions of the PS5 on the way, one with an optical disc drive, and a digital edition that does without. Like the already revealed DualSense controller, the PS5 consoles are exceptionally stylish. In fact, we'd argue that this could be the most strikingly sculpted games machine ever created. For once, the myriad fanboy-created concepts were too conservative. The event also revealed a number of new accessories, including a new Pulse 3D wireless headset, a DualSense charging station, in which you can dock two controllers at once, and an HD camera that mimics the look of the console itself. Of course, with this being an event about games, we now know loads about the PS5 games lineup, too. From an expanded and enhanced version of GTA 5, yes, really, to yet another entry in the Resident Evil franchise, and the hotly anticipated Horizon I, there's loads to get excited about. We've been waiting a long time to get to this point. PlayStation's lead architect and console producer, Mark Cerny, got the PS5 info ball rolling back in an April 2019 interview, and has since, alongside Sony show Jim Ryan, expanded on what we can expect from the game's console in October. We got another grand PS5 info dump courtesy of Mark Cerny at the March 2020 tech-heavy Road to PS5 presentation. Sony's live-stream PS5 deep dive on the PlayStation 5's architecture focused heavily on the inclusion of SSD storage, and cast some doubt over whether or not the PS5 will be supporting Dolby Atmos. More on that below. Sony officially confirmed some details, including the official name and release date, of sorts, back in October 2019, and at CES 2020. Sony confirmed the official PS5 logo. Since then, Sony has also leaked information about the PS5 DualShock 5 controller. So, where do we stand now, after the biggest PS5 event to date? Read on, and absorb all of the PlayStation 5 details currently available, and start saving for your next console. Looking for a new TV to make the most out of your inevitable console purchase next year? Then look no further, for we've found the best TV deals live right now. With less than 6 months to go before the PS5 arrives, there's plenty of time to make use of a new PS4. You can find plenty of excellent PS4 deals in both the UK and US. The PS5 price wasn't revealed during the June Games event, and is likely to remain under wraps until closer to launch. The original PlayStation and PS2 launched at $299. The PS3 started at $499, and the more recent PS4 came in at $399. It's widely believed that a price north of $400 is a recipe for trouble, but given the technological envelopes being pushed by the PS5, we wouldn't be surprised to see Sony take the risk. The trade war between China and America may also have an effect when it comes to manufacture and shipping. Indeed, back in June 2019, Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft issued a joint statement warning of such price rises if the trade war continues. Enjoy that one at your leisure. In fact, according to Bloomberg, Sony is having significant troubles in keeping the cost of the PS5 down. It's due to the cost of the components inside, with DRAM and NAND flash memory in particular proving expensive, what with smartphone manufacturers gearing up for their own next-gen devices. The upshot is reportedly a manufacturer price of $450, $350, and that will lead to a higher ticket at retail too. The result could mean a considerably more expensive device. Another reason, perhaps, that Sony has chosen to take the two-console approach, offering a full-fat, disc-playing PS5 and a, presumably, more affordable disc-less digital edition. Perhaps the aim is that the digital edition will dip below the $400 barrier, while the version with the disk drive will get closer to $499. It's worth noting that, while not confirmed, we're expecting both consoles to have performance parity, with the disk drive, or lack thereof, being the only difference between the two models. So we're not talking about the standard and Pro editions predicted by YouTuber Review Techusa. While a specific date is yet to be revealed, Sony has confirmed that the PS5 release date is holiday 2020, setting up a battle royal between the PS5 and new Xbox Series X for Christmas 2020. Previously, in an interview with Wired, Sony had only said that the PlayStation 5 would not be available before April 2020. But at CES 2020, the company finally went on record with an end-of-year PS5 release. When will we get the official release date? Having spurned the opportunity to put us out of our misery during its June PS5 Games event, it's now anyone's guess. And perhaps the chaotic nature of a COVID-riddled globe is encouraging Sony to keep its cards close to its chest until much closer to launch. Although Sony has claimed that the coronavirus pandemic has not affected the expected late 2020 PS5 release date. Either way, we expect to see a steady stream of PS5 information from this point forth, so we could get a date as soon as July. Or perhaps it will be announced as part of the virtual GDC 2020 in August. Whenever it comes, the aim for Sony is to go big, and go big quick. Pre-coronavirus, the plan was to reach sales of 6 million units by March 2021. Doubtless, those plans will have shifted in light of the global economic impact of COVID-19, but Sony has clearly invested hugely in PS5 and will be banking on huge sales. Games consoles themselves generally sell for very small, if any, profit, and Sony will be looking to the content and services to help recoup costs. The more PS5s the company has out there, the faster that can happen. After months of rampant speculation, leaks, and renders, we finally know what the PS5 looks like, and it's not as anyone predicted. To these eyes, it's better. The utilitarian looks of the Xbox Series X and Xbox One, and, to a lesser extent, the PS4, have been eschewed in favor of something altogether bolder, more sculpted, and more sci-fi. It will almost certainly prove divisive, and may age quickly, but we're impressed at first glance. So far, Sony has chosen to show the PS5 almost exclusively in its vertical orientation, where its white shell has the look of a high-colored catsuit with an opening that plunges down further than some might consider decent, and creates a V, to denote that this is the 5th generation PlayStation console. That high, white collar is separated from the black body of the machine by thin gaps that are almost certainly designed to allow the hot air generated by the console's processing bits and pieces to escape. Rather than hide this functional part of the design, Sony has chosen to highlight it with some lovely blue lighting. This is form and function working as one. For what it's worth, the slenderness and symmetry of the PlayStation 5 Digital Edition make it undeniably the better looking of the two consoles, with the standard version's disk drive looking a little awkward, particularly when they're stood side by side. You might even assume that the Digital Edition was designed first, with the disk drive reluctantly added afterwards. That said, even this bigger model looks smooth and sleek compared to the boxy Xbox Series X. The design includes two slim slots or buttons. They could also be lights, but neither was illuminated during the reveal, towards the bottom of the console's front. Plus a standard, presumably 3.0 certified, and USB-C socket further up. The rear of the machine has not yet been revealed, so the sockets it has back there remain a mystery for now. Crucially, the final PS5 design is vastly different from that of the many leaks we've seen in the last few months. On the 13th of August, a patent was registered as a Sony electronic device, and listed Sony Technical Director Yasuhiro Otori as its designer, as filed, apparently, back in May 2019. And below, thanks to Let's Go Digital, is a colored-in and graphically rendered version of the black and white sketch which accompanied the patent. To call that wide of the mark would be an understatement. This huge, flying V console was almost certainly a developer machine, or a concept for one, and was probably never considered as the final design. That didn't stop Sony off tech publishing. On the 10th of October 2019, a leaked image of a developer version of the PS5 that looked very similar to the patent sketch from August. Sony started its CES 2020 press conference with a segment on the forthcoming PS5, and while no new specs were released or images shown, Sony did confirm the official PS5 logo. The design won't shock you. It stays in line with previous PlayStation logos, keeping it simple with white lines on a black background. Sony reveals the official PS5 logo, and it's familiar. Yes, the PS5 will play 4K Blu-rays. Sony initially only confirmed the PS5 will have an optical disc drive, but we now have confirmation that the disc drive of the standard PlayStation 5 will indeed play 4K Blu-rays. It was disappointing that the PlayStation 4 didn't include a 4K Blu-ray drive, so we're glad to see Sony supporting the 4K disc format in the new console. Currently both the Xbox One S and X come with 4K disc drives, which gives them extra appeal over the PS4 for home cinema enthusiasts. But the PS5 will bring the Ultra HD Blu-ray fight to Xbox. Of course, if you're not interested in playing 4K Blu-rays or buying disc-based versions of games, you can go for the disc drive-less PlayStation 5 Digital Edition instead. The PS5 will support 8K video, at least to an extent. The PlayStation 5 will ship with an AMD Ryzen chip, a 7nm chip on Zen 2 architecture, and a GPU from the Radeon Navi family. It will also come with SSD storage. The promise from this trio of hardware is fast load times, large bandwidth capabilities, and oodles of graphics grunt. Enough grunt for true, native 8K gaming? Perhaps, but possibly only when dealing with simpler titles. Big-budget blockbusters might well employ a new version of the sort of checkerboard upscaling that Sony currently uses to make PS4 Pro games look ace on a 4K display. We know, for example, that Gran Turismo 7 will not be in 8K. The game's creator, Kazunori Yamaguchi, said, "I think, display resolution-wise, 4K resolution is enough." Instead, the Polyphony Digital Studio boss told Planet that he is more interested in raising the frame rate to 120 or 240 FPS to really add to the experience. Both the PS4 and PS4 Pro are already HDR enabled, supporting the HDR10 format, and there's no reason to believe that this would be any different for the PS5. Will we see a more advanced version of HDR, such as HDR10 Plus and Dolby Vision, also employed? We certainly wouldn't rule it out, particularly as the current Xboxes already support the latter, but nothing has so far been announced on that front. It was for a time suggested by the likes of YouTubers Eng Nishikawa that Sony would announce a PS5 Pro alongside a standard PS5, and that the Pro version would support, among other things, 8K video and higher frame rates. However, no PS5 Pro has so far been mentioned. We hope so. Again, the current crop of Xbox One consoles outstrips the PS4 in the audio department, certainly on paper. With Sony's consoles limited to 7.1 audio. Microsoft's machines, on the other hand, both come with Dolby Atmos and DTS. X audio for gaming, and for 4K Blu-ray playback, although Sony has promised that the PS5 will herald a new gold standard in audio. At the end of the Sony's March 2020 PS5 update, Cerny left his audience with a distinct feeling that the PS5 would not be supporting Dolby Atmos. The PS5 will output native 3D audio using a newly designed Tempest engine, with Cerny stating that he wanted to include far more than just the 34 speakers that Atmos can manage. It also means that many more TV sound devices will be able to leverage the PS5 surround virtualization, and not just Atmos certified ones. Make of that what you will. Could this mean the console will be compatible with Sony's own 360 reality audio format? We think so. We also think that, in the short term at least, the newly announced Pulse 3D headset will be how Sony delivers the PS5's 3D audio, with the format potentially in line for greater availability in the future. In all likelihood, this approach to sound will be specific to the gaming side of things, and that the disc player and video streamer portions of the PS5 could well be Atmos certified. Of course, you'll still need a compatible AV receiver and speaker setup to truly appreciate the extra dimension of height that Dolby Atmos adds. But if you've already got a tasty 5.1.2 system installed, or are planning to do so, this would be the icing on the cake. With each new PlayStation normally comes a new DualShock controller, except this time it doesn't. Sony has gone to the next level, and created the DualSense controller to partner the PS5. It's a sleek and modern-looking design with a two-tone finish instead of the standard single hue of the DualShocks. Sony has promised that the new controller will captivate more of your senses as you interact with the virtual worlds in PS5 games. The features of DualSense, along with PS5's Tempest 3D audio tech, will deliver a new feeling of immersion to players. That added immersion is set to come across primarily through a more evolved sense of touch. Haptics have replaced the rumble technology to create a broader range of more realistic feedback. Players will now get more nuanced sensations such as the slow grittiness of driving a car through mud. The L2 and R2 trigger buttons feature adaptive, programmable resistance so that players can feel more or less tension through certain actions. DualSense is, of course, wireless. So far, there are no details on how long you get from a single charge, but Sony has stressed that it's tried to maintain a strong battery life. There's a built-in microphone array and speaker, which means players can chat to their friends without the need for a gaming headset. And the share button has been replaced by a new create button. It's to create epic gameplay content to share with the world, according to Sony. More details on what that entails are promised closer to launch. To fit these new components, the style and shape of the new controller has been tweaked. The angle of the hand triggers has been changed, and the grip updated to the aim is to make the DualSense still feel light and small. The light bar has also shifted to the sides of the touchpad from its position on top of the DualShock 4, which is a rather pleasing aesthetic if nothing else. If, for whatever reason, you can't stand the thing, then the PlayStation 5 should be backwards compatible with the PS4 controller. PS5 is confirmed to deliver. According to Cerny, compared to an HDD, it offers 100x faster load speeds, which means no load screens, ultra-fast streaming, and ultra-fast boot speeds too. In real terms, streaming is apparently so fast that a game can load all the graphics and textures behind an online player faster than the player can around. The capacity of the internal SSD has still not yet been revealed, perhaps because there will be multiple options. But Cerny did confirm that storage will be expandable through the addition of third-party M2 SSDs. The catch is that they will have to fit the dedicated slot and connections of the PS5, and hit a minimum speed so as not to slow down the new PS5 games. Interestingly, Sony says that no drives so far tested have hit Sony's minimum spec, but they are expected to do so by the end of the year, and specific recommendations will be offered post-launch. One thing we do know for sure is that the PS5 will be a more environmentally friendly games console than the PS4. The head of Sony Interactive Entertainment, Jim Ryan, revealed a feature called suspended gameplay which gets through less power than the current console. If it was used by 1 million PS5 owners, that would represent a reduction in electricity consumption equivalent to 1,000 US households. As well as revealing the design of the PS5 console itself, Sony used its June PlayStation event to reveal a number of PS5 accessories. The most interesting of the bunch is undoubtedly the Pulse 3D headset, which we expect Sony to push as the primary way to enjoy the PS5's new 3D audio. In design terms, it doesn't look dissimilar to the current Platinum wireless headset, albeit with much more matte white on show. Given how good Sony's last couple of gaming headsets have been, we've got high hopes for this new model.